Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Lim. Thank you so much for being here today. I, along with 7 of my classmates, Lauren Casey, Paolo Tamparelli, Melissa Maxson, Beth Gurney, Judith Stone, Terry Abrams, Robin Arthur, very excited to present to you a project that is very near and dear to our hearts, the Larkfield Community Garden Project. We all come from a variety of backgrounds and life experiences, yet we were all drawn to this project for one single reason. To us, this represents a simple and beautiful solution to many of the pressing world problems that we see around us today. So what, may you ask, are the problems that this project addresses? Well, you remember Martha from the last presentation? Martha, you remember she was overweight and had diabetes? This wasn't planned. Well, we are in the midst of a diabetes epidemic. 2/3 of all Americans are overweight or obese. Almost 1/2 of all US adults have either prediabetes or diabetes. We live in a world where we are completely disconnected from nature, where video games, watching television, and playing with our iPhones has replaced the simple pleasures of going for a walk outdoors or playing with the neighborhood kids outside. We live in a world where we are surrounded by a toxic food environment. This is a picture of the Revez family in their kitchen in North Carolina with a week's worth of food. And as you can see, our toxic environment is an average family consists of fast food, processed foods, sweetened beverages, and the amount of organic fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains is few and far between. I think you can spot a few grapes here. We live in a world where we lead increasingly stressed out, fast-paced, productivity-driven lives. And as a result, we are seeing the continual erosion of a deeper sense of community. And finally, we live in a world where in the name of corporate shareholder profits, we are destroying our beautiful Mother Earth that surrounds us. So on that positive note, I pass.
Thank you. Those roses are from my nanny's garden, and she's right at the back. She just really finds stuff. So we see the situation of where we're at today, the way things are leading, how lives are getting so busy. But all the world's problems can be solved in the garden, and I truly believe that. And with that, it's a deep connection with our community and our ecology and our food system. So I'm a co-owner of a business called Community Soil, and we look at local residents' land and how do they steward their land, how do they create habitat, how do they keep the resources they have and regenerate the resources they have and maximize their food production. That's our main goal. And so over the last 3 years, we've been saying, how do we create land-based learning centers all over Sonoma County where people who don't own land, who can't afford to have a specialist come out to their property, have access to this information in public space. So it's a lot of words. Basically what the UN is saying is that we need to change rapidly our method of food production from large-scale monoculture down to small-scale polyculture. We need to go from this monoculture carbon time bomb to the small-scale polyculture carbon sinks. We need to be solution-oriented with the way that we look at our land. And we also need to create a conversation in our community where we say, we're not having a scarcity of resources. We're just using them wrong. And we need to say, actually, we live in one of the most abundant places in the entire world, and we just need to change that perspective. So what this quote is saying is, if we buy the first round of drinks, take care of our community, give them some information about what's going on, nature will pick up the tab for dinner and show. And I really believe that's true. And that's the same thing with our community. If we provide a space where people can come out and get together, more and more people will come out and get together. So this is our flagship project. This is the Larkfield Community Garden Learning Center. And there's a formula to this. So right off the freeway, densely populated areas, next to low-income housing, next to athletic fields on regional park land, We got Bert Whitaker here and Jim Piercy. We've been in conversation with them for the last 2.5 years. We didn't get the land until this project started. So right next to a school, right next to a farmer's market. So we started this team, and we all have full-time jobs, and we said, we need some wings. We've got this idea, but we need it to take off, so we came to the Leadership Institute. And I said, I got this idea, who's with me? And we've got 8 people. And if we had the room big enough, we would all be in a circle, because everybody can get involved in this space. So then we said we need to reach out. So we started with regional parks. They gave us their full crew for 2 weeks. Such a fantastic work culture. And we started working on this. So we had our crew and their crew, and we just started putting it together. And then we also said, who else wants to get involved? U.S. Fish and Game, Department of Health Services, Santa Rosa Original Farmers Market. We have over 24 farmers in the local area who want to showcase what we do in Sonoma County, what they do, and how do we really support the farmers who are doing the correct type of food production methods and educate the people.
So that last slide is an amazing testament to not only the charismatic leadership team that's been able to recruit a tremendous number of partners, but also to the fact that this project is at the core of a tremendous number of community efforts. And so coming from the local government sector myself, I really saw this project as an incredible illustration of our policy and programmatic goals in action across many government agencies and non-governmental partners. Equity, health, food system security, water, habitat restoration, community building, community resilience, and resilience to climate change. The new vision statement of the Community Soil Foundation is a really elegant summary of that integrated pursuit of community values. Our vision is to create healthy, resilient communities and habitats. In achieving that vision, the mission of the Community Soil Foundation is to cultivate the wellness of Sonoma County by offering land-based learning, creating access to organic produce, and regenerating habitat and natural resources. It's beautiful.
So this also will be the integration between community and school. So we're going to go into the Mark West Union School District, starting off with the Mark West Elementary School, in collaboration with local farmers, and we're going to teach them how to run their own farmers market booth. So they're going to learn math, science, English, history, and art, all within the Common Core standards. And we're going to take this in the classroom out into the community. So there'll also be another farm stand right next to the snack shack at the farmers market booth.
Okay, so these are the core activities that are going to be taking place in the garden. In the outdoor classroom, not only will students get to be there, but local residents will also be there to learn how their food is grown and their connection to their environment. Volunteer days, those will be open to local businesses, nonprofits, residents, neighbors, families can come out and participate. The farm stand, not only at the farmer's market, but you mentioned the milking stand. I was there last Saturday, and right now the farm stand has the usual hamburgers, hot dogs, nachos, chips, soda, and candy. There was no apples, there was no salad, so that would be awesome to have that there. Because I was looking for like, what would I eat? I couldn't eat any of that. And then they're also going to have monthly garden workshops where they'll have rainwater catchment, rain gardens, gray water, learning about local pollinators, and basically how to steward your own.
So now we go back to the Leadership Institute and our team. And when Paula brought this project to the Leadership Institute class, this was just a dream. The land has been lying fallow, it has ground hasn't been broken, and nothing was happening at this site. A lot was going on at Community Soil Foundation, however. But he hoped that, as he mentioned, that the Leadership Institute support would help make this dream a reality. So 7 of us were so inspired by this project, we decided to join with Paula and work on this project and help make the dream a reality. And so we broke into 4 different work groups, which you see here, and we'll be talking about each of these in turn. So Anthony and I worked on the systems group, and this is probably the least exciting. Some might think it's a little mundane. We think it's very exciting, and we do think it's important. But it's hard to find great graphics for this. But anyway, so this is it. But the systems group, basically we worked with Melissa Struzo, who is a Community Soil Foundation staff member. And our goal was to take a big picture look at the organization as a system and try to help them develop some components that were really key to the successful functioning of the organization itself. So some of the things that we did in a nutshell, where we helped to crystallize the mission statement that you saw that was wonderful, right? We all said that was wonderful. Also, to help to crystallize and hone on their objectives and their goals and their strategies. We helped them to really develop and articulate their vision statement that you also saw earlier. And that takes more work than you might think. We helped them to define the core values that the organization was going to operate under. And we also helped them to lay the foundation for their business and strategic plan. Very important for helping to raise funds and also to guide the organization into the future. And in doing that, we did something called a SWOT analysis, which some of you might be familiar with. We also did a situation analysis. We researched demographics and trends and so forth. We also drafted sections of the business plan. And finally, we put together what's called a logic model, and I'm going to let Anthony talk about that in a moment. Wait a minute. But to culminate our project, we facilitated a session with the Community Soil Foundation staff, where we actually that year we looked at their core values and tried to articulate those, and we finalized our work products that we had put together, and we developed an action plan for moving into the future. With that, Anthony, logic model.
So you'll be tested on the details.
We're going to spend the next 45 minutes on it. How many of you have heard of a logic model? Okay, about half. Before starting work on this, I had never heard of a logic model. So let me explain in basic terms. Imagine going on a long road trip without a map. Chances are you'll probably get lost and never reach your final destination. So the way to think of a logic model is it is a roadmap for an organization. It presents your entire organization on a single page. And it does this by mapping out the inputs. So what are you investing in the organization in terms of people, money, resources? What are the outputs, the green? What are the actual activities that that organization is carrying out with the inputs that it's getting? And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, what are the outcomes? So what are the short-term, what are the medium-term, and what are the long-term outcomes that through those activities you're hoping to achieve? And what this does is it keeps you on track. It keeps you accountable. It's used for accountability. It's used for communications. It's used for evaluation. It's used for implementation. And just to give you an idea, we just completed this. Beth and I worked really hard, and we brought it out at the facilitated session. We just completed it at the end of last month. And it has already been used in 2 very high-level discussions as the sole document and point of discussion between the leadership of Community Soil Foundation and organizations such as Sutter and the Department of Public Health. One last word, the beauty of a logic model is that it's dynamic. It's constantly changing and it's evolving, just as Community Soil and Larkfield are going to continually change and evolve. But at least it provides a nice concrete starting point from which to launch. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Melissa to talk about outreach.
Okay, so Judith and I were part of the outreach committee with Jeff Shields and Daryl Sandoval from Community Soil Foundation. So we met and we discussed different ideas for who to outreach to. They've done a really good job already. So we just had some brainstorming sessions on what we could do with our personal connections. And in that, we had to become familiar with what they needed, who they needed for what kind of supporters they would need. There were 3 events that actually all of us helped out with, and for the launch party, Judith and I invited potential donors, and we solicited donations for the food. We also helped set up for the party, with the food, and we helped check people in as they come in. We also photographed and participated in the school groundbreaking day and the community volunteer day also, which you're going to
kind of whack-a-mole. Ryan and I worked on the curriculum group. Community Soils obtained a grant and bought the Life Lab curriculum program for school gardens. Then Lauren and I worked with administrators out of Mark West School and developed an online survey which asked the teachers what they wanted to see in the garden, what had worked before, what hadn't worked before. And then we also asked for some volunteers who would participate in a spring shortened curriculum that's happening actually right now. We're also working with the school, the new garden coordinator, to do a long-term project which will start next fall, which will involve all of the classes at Mark West Elementary. And this on the left is our new garden coordinator, Cha-Cha, Martin Cabrazer. And beside doing the curriculum that she'll be doing with Life Lab, she'll also be manning a farm stand at Wells Fargo Center. She'll be teaching classes, monthly classes to the community at the garden, as well as staffing the volunteer days. This is really a community garden where everyone will get to participate.
We also participated in the launch party. What was the launch? What was the purpose of the launch? Well, the purpose of the launch was to unify and to thank all of the partners and all of the believers who participated in the project today. We gathered in the Tantarelli's beautiful garden for a fundraiser and a fundraiser. We celebrated and we got further educated. From little people to little old ladies and little old men and everybody in between. And we had lots of liquid beverages and lots of lettuces. And we had live music. And we had a live auction with the presence of Senator Mike McGuire and Supervisor James Gore. Senator Mike McGuire put it all together for me when he said, why a community garden in Larkfield Wikia? Why should you invest? As he emceed the auction, he said, because the Larkfield Wikia area is larger than Sebastopol, Rohnert Park, and Cloverdale, and yet, until the bold and brilliant vision of the Community Soil Foundation, there wasn't one community garden in that area. He said, this is a model program, not only for the county, but for the state, and maybe the world.
Of bringing together people and a fabulous idea and lots of heart. But as we all know, one of the things that makes the world go round in the nonprofit world is funding. And that has been an effort that was started by the Community Soil Foundation group, but they appreciated having a team that we could support. And we worked on a lot of research, we worked on grant writing, we've submitted grants to the Community Foundation for their environmental education initiative, as well as we will be submitting one to the Cliff Bar Family Foundation that has support for community food systems as well as outdoor education. In addition to that area, the group has launched this month a Kickstarter campaign. And the Kickstarter campaign has a goal of $20,000. It is a short period of time. We've raised $3,700 to this point. And we're really counting on the whole community to join into this process, to make this model for the community continue to work. One of the areas that has been very important has been the events that we had talked about. Not only the launch party, but as well, there was a wonderful community volunteer day, bringing together, again, that AmeriCorps group that you heard from earlier that have been working in other projects, They came and worked last Saturday and really laid the groundwork for this after the clearing had been done by the Great Regional Parks Partnership, then to bring in the trenches and the hose and, you know, all the people with their hand labor, and we worked on that. And so that part of it, as well as the day when the students came out and they worked in the garden as well.
Okay, well, on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, over 300 students from Mark West Elementary walked across the street and came to the garden for their first visit. So here you see them planting trees. Each class got to plant a fruit tree, and we hope all of you will come visit our garden. This wonderful orchard of all the students is in the back part of the property. Yeah.
Well, Terry already mentioned the community volunteer day a little bit, but let's see. She did mention that there were AmeriCorps volunteers there, but total there was over 60 people. There were all of us, there were community members, there was family, friends. Paula has a really big family. And even a few students. And what was really cool is there was this cousin, and she had her two little cousins with her, and they were working so hard, and they were so committed. Little boy was like sweating, like shoveling mulch, and we're really need to go take care of it. No, I want to fish this year. We had to force them to take lunch. It was so neat to see them out there in the garden, get their hands dirty. We spread over 50 yards of mulch, and we prepped nearly a dozen beds. And neighbors came out of their houses. There's a playground right there, and some families and kids came over to see what we were doing. Some people came up and inquired about getting a flock there. It was amazing to see how many people, you all put your work together, what you do, and build community.
So those are highlights of the things that happened over the roughly 6 months that our team was involved in the Larkfield Community Garden Project, but obviously there is so much more to do. On the short term, we really want to support the continued fundraising for the garden coordinator position, which is not fully funded yet. So please share the Kickstarter campaign with your friends and family. We also are going to be working to support the garden coordinator in launching the Life Lab curriculum with the support of the teachers at the elementary school. And Cha-Cha and the team are going to be working to broaden community engagement so that there's more ownership of this garden from the community. And there's already tremendous ownership, but we want to see that really built. And then beyond that, over the medium term, we see so much potential for this model in Sonoma County. This is just a map of the parks around the county that are co-located with residential neighborhoods, schools, and have access to the types of resources in the community that can make this model work countywide. So we're really thrilled to see this grow.
So let's part of what makes any project successful. We were at a meeting with the Mark West superintendent, Ron Calloway, and at the end of the meeting, I heard him say to Paulo, I can't believe after 2.5 years we're finally breaking ground on this project. Paulo didn't miss a beat and said, this is what happens when you won't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that really is the heart, that and a really great idea is at the heart of what makes change happen in a community.
As I mentioned, this is our project. So please join us. As I mentioned, help with the fundraising campaign. If you can, come out and visit the garden and get your hands dirty. And plant a garden at your home. It's a really inspiring opportunity to see what's possible when you change the landscape. Lastly, we have a short video that we want to try to share. If we can get it to work. It seems like.
You know, information is power. And when we really can know where our food comes from, where our water comes from, where our electricity comes from, we really can make a choice to increase human health. I'm Paolo Tantarelli, and we are the Community Soil Foundation. We are currently installing a year-round educational garden to teach local residents how to grow healthy food in collaboration with local farmers.
Honeybees, the tiny bee I think what's really important is addressing the need in Sonoma County for spaces where people can come together and reconnect.
Life can be so busy that it gets really challenging to find time to go outside and put our hands in the soil to connect with nature, our neighbors, and our health.
Here in this Mediterranean climate, we have so much abundance and so many possibilities for growing food year-round. We just need to show people where they can find it and how they can create it for themselves to improve their health and well-being.
The Larkfield Community Garden and Learning Center. This is it. We are creating a community hub that reconnects family, neighbors, local residents to the food cycle and our environment.
It's an outdoor education center where kids and adults can participate in hands-on activities. We will teach about how to grow food, health and wellness, including yoga and meditation, and local ecology.
This will literally be an outdoor classroom where we host K-8 students in the local district for garden-based curriculum within the Common Core standards. It's an exciting time right now because we have so many collaborators and partnerships.
They're going to take away creative thinking skills. They're going to take away critical thinking skills. They're going to be able to communicate, which is important for their social and emotional well-being.
I think the kids are going to just really get a grasp of math, science. We'll build in the writing and the language arts, all of those pieces all together. That really will help kids learn.
I'm excited about the garden. I would just like being in nature.
I think it would be more fun to do like math and science with vegetables and fruits.
I've always wanted to have like a company or something, and like, well, this is kind of like what's happening, which is super cool.
We are cultivating the wellness of Sonoma County by creating access to local, organic, fresh produce. We're even going to give a portion of this to local food banks and to the low-income residents of our community. By doing this, we're going to improve and change and impact the health of the community overall.
This will be a place-based learning center where people can learn about four-season food production, local water conservation. It'll be a place where people can reach out and see how they can be solution-oriented in the current ecology. And the students will have their own farmers market booth. They will learn math, science, English, history, and art through how much to seeds, soil, water, amendments, and their own labor cost. This will be mentored by local farmers.
It's creating the nonprofit partner that the schools need. The Larkfield Community Garden Project is a new first step in the right direction. This is exactly where we need to be going. We need to get students out there understanding what it is to grow their own food, what it looks like, what the taste difference is, how fun it is.
We are redefining the school and community garden model by joining them together, and we're creating a space for outdoor education and community connection.
This is a monumental collaboration between farmers, residents, businesses, and schools. Join us to plant the seed that we can nourish and all watch grow.
Not bad. So before this started, we had gone and done all this work. It wasn't until mid-November that we actually got a unanimous vote by the Board of Supervisors to get the land. And then we did it, and we just kept pushing it, and we had this great momentum with this project. And so we're asking all of you to tell everybody you know about it. Donate your age. It doesn't have to be much money. Just get people excited and pass it out, you know. And come together, let people know about this idea, and we can incorporate all of your guys' projects together in the same space.